Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Friday everyone. It is time for, you guessed it, another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So I started thinking about what to talk about today, and obviously I'll talk about what I did, but I thought it'd be fun to just kind of compare some motors that we've built recently here in the shop, and you can see the four that I'm going to talk about right now. So I will come back to that, but let's go ahead and start with what I actually worked on today, which is this puppy. So this is basically a 1600 single port, which is for the green Karmann Ghia over there, the 68 Ghia. So that car, of course, would have come with a 1500 single port. However, I guess at some point in the motor's lifetime, the engine was replaced. Not surprisingly, most cars don't have their original motors in them. This car being one exception. Anyway, so yeah, it's a 1600. So, needless to say, we left it a 1600. It didn't make any sense to make it back smaller to a 1500. And, it's not numbers matching anyway. So, but yeah, this is essentially a stock build. But even on stock motors, what we usually do is we bump the compression ratio a bit. So this is more like 8-to-1. Stock, this motor would have been more like 7-to-1 or something. I don't know the exact figure, but pretty low. And so usually we bump the compression a little bit and put in like a very mild performance cam, like maybe something equivalent to like an Engel 90, and then high rev single springs. And that perks them up a lot. Like it will definitely not fill stock. It'll feel noticeably peppier than a stock motor as far as being able to get up to speed, get on the freeway, etc. So it should be a really nice driving car. So anyway, today I went and I picked up the kind of the last major pieces of the puzzle for this motor, namely the ceramic coated muffler, which again, we use MB Performance down in, I don't know if their address is Santa Ana or Irvine, but they're down there somewhere. You can look them up. And likewise, the intake manifold, also ceramic coated. So yeah, I was kind of waiting on those two things to finish putting this motor together, because you really can't finish, well, needless to say, you can't finish the motor without those, but there's a lot of things you just can't do until you have those. Like, for example, you can't install the generator, and usually generator and fan shroud go on together. So those, I kind of had sitting there, but they weren't really installed. I had the heater boxes on, but you got to leave them kind of loose because you got to slide them together with the muffler when that goes on. So yeah, the motor was as assembled as it could be until I had the manifold and the exhaust. And so now it's assembled for real here. So pretty much everything that you see on it now is like on it for real versus mock-up, with the exception of I'm going to get a new 12-volt Bosch blue coil. So this is the one that came in the car, which is fairly ugly. And so I will be putting a new one on. And other than that, I've got the duct that goes down here to pick up preheated air for the air cleaner. That is at powder coating, as are the little piece of tin that goes there and the one that goes there up underneath. So yeah, a couple last minute things at powder coating for this engine. But other than that, pretty much what you see is what you get. So after I put on the manifold and exhaust today, went ahead and put on the carburetor, which I had rebuilt previously, and then started adding fuel lines. So we like to, even though strictly speaking not correct on a motor for a 68, we really like to use fuel lines off a 40 horse, which are the copper coated ones. And you see even here on this 74 Beetle, same story, at least for the, well, let's see, this one has it. Yeah, this one just has it for the fuel inlet. You can see it running right there. This one I went ahead and also did it for the fuel pump to carburetor line. So you have to modify the line quite a bit just because the outlets are kind of positioned differently on a 40 horse fuel pump relative to like a later fuel pump, but it's not that hard. You just got to spend some time rebending it and stuff like that to get it to work with a non 40 horse, like slightly later motor. And so, but yeah, I think it looks really nice. It's a really nice touch. Again, not everything, 100% of things we do are always strictly speaking correct, but we have a few little things that we do like that we like as details that look like they could be factory, but they're actually not. And in this case, those are factory parts, but they're just for a slightly earlier motor. So we like to do little things like that, little kind of special touches that, the purists, well, who knows, they can, whatever. So yeah, that is that. So that went on. Likewise, the vacuum line for the vacuum advance on the distributor went on. Of course, you have to bend that quite a bit to get it on there and to get it to fit correctly. And this is more or less how it would have come shaped from the factory. So a little bit of time getting that thing to cooperate and be more or less the right shape. And let's see what else. Yeah, so I went ahead and cut the fresh air tubes, and I got the adapters, which you can kind of see right there from Eddie. Wolfsburg West has been out of those for a while, so that allowed me to go ahead and cut the fresh air hoses, test fit them with the grommets, hose clamps and stuff. So that having been said, the breastplate and the fresh air hoses will come off when the motor goes in the car, because it just makes your life way easier when you're getting this thing into position and kind of raising it up in the engine compartment. Usually what I'll do is I'll pull the fresh air hoses, the breastplate, at least the outer part of the generator pulley, and sometimes I'll pull the distributor too. Sometimes it can kind of be in the way. But other than that, the motor stays pretty intact. And then once you get it in place, it's a pretty simple matter to go back and add those few things. And of course, get the seal, around it properly and everything. But yes, so that is pretty much what happened on this one. A good chunk of my day here spent putting this thing together and, detailing it out with all the fuel lines and vacuum lines and fresh air hoses and all that good stuff. Another thing that's kind of a pain are these insulators here for the heat risers. These are the correct material, which is not really available anymore, but we do have a source for those. And they're actually made out of asbestos, so you don't want to grind these up and breathe them, but they're just sitting on your motor, they're fine. It's not like if you stand in the same room or whatever as asbestos, it murders you or whatever. You just don't grind it up and breathe it. Anyway, so those are the correct original style ones there that insulate these heat risers on the, as they come into the engine compartment from the exhaust. So those things are a bit of a pain in the ass, I have to be honest, to get in here. They usually don't fit that great, and kind of a pain to get in, and they're very tight. But anyway, we've done enough of them that we've got some tricks up our sleeve. And I think that is kind of it for this one. So I'm probably going to start this motor maybe next week, just to check and make sure that, the carburetor is working properly, the fuel pump, probably go ahead and measure fuel pressure, set the timing, which I think I have the static timing set now, and it's probably pretty close, at least close enough to get it started. But we shall see, guys. I may go ahead and start this thing. The only thing is it probably isn't going to go in the car for a while. So I may actually hold off on starting it, just because if I start it and then there's, fuel in the carburetor and stuff, I don't want it sitting there evaporating out of it while the motor's waiting to go into the car. So I may just, once I get those other few pieces, go ahead and just kind of put it together and sort of mothball it, so to speak, until we're closer to putting it in the car. So let me talk briefly about this one, and then I'll kind of talk about these different motors a little bit here. So this one today, not a huge deal, but I did get a new mustache bar for it. This is the one that came on the bus, which is very twisted. So the new one, I went to take it to powder coating this morning, and I noticed that the little welds that hold these standoffs on it were broken on the two larger ones. So I went ahead and and cleaned those all up and threw some more tack welds on those two. And then just to be thorough, I threw some more tack welds on the little guy there too, the lower one. So took care of all that and then took it to powder coating along with, like I mentioned before, a few final pieces of tin for this motor here. So that's what happened on this one today. So kind of keeping things rolling along here. All right, guys, so let's spend a few minutes talking about motors here. So I think it's fun that we have kind of a wide variety of motors in the shop. So we don't have any 36 horse motors in here at the moment that are going into any car, but we do have some later stock motors. So this is essentially a stock. Well, this is not even quite stock. It looks very stock, which is intentional. However, this one we went ahead and bored out to 1776 cc's, and kind of similar to the 1600 I was just talking about. It has like a very mild cam in it, a little bit of compression and so on. So it should also be a really good driver. But yeah, even later model motors, which are much more complicated than earlier ones, are still very pretty in their own right when they're done up nice. So again, stock appearing, but a little bit more cc's on this one. And this car, by the way, will probably take it for its maiden voyage next week. So that's exciting. This car is like that close to being done, guys. So I've talked about this one already. So this one I've been talking about a lot lately. This is a 2161 cc, which is not a combination you hear of real often. Usually you hear like a 2180 or a 2110 is kind of like the very common bus motor, even though, you can put it in a Beetle or anything. But so this one is actually 90.5 cylinders, but instead of the usual 82 millimeter stroke, it's an 84. So a couple millimeters more stroke just makes it that much torqueier. And as you can see, it does have fuel injection on it. The owners of this car want to be able to, drive it and have it be reliable and smooth and, throw the family in it and have fun. So we opted to go with fuel injection on it, single center mounted fuel injection. So this is a setup from AJ over at Low Bucket. I have previously, if you've been following the channel for a while, installed one of his dual throttle body system, which has an IDF style throttle body sitting off on each side. This one, just getting the single, they're not really interested in this being like a show car per se, where the other one was very much like a show car. And so it just seemed a lot easier to do the single center mount. And then this one is getting air conditioning, so that's going right there. So overall easier having a single throttle body where a lot of the sensors and stuff are built into it versus the two separate throttle bodies where you have to have all these other sensors and stuff mounted kind of all over the engine compartment. So much more self-contained, this one. Even the ECU is sort of built into this, so much less wiring and stuff like that. But anyway, so yeah, this one should definitely yank this bus around quite nicely and have lots of torque, should have a very wide and flat torque curve and be a real pleasure to drive. So the last one that I'll talk about that you guys have seen a lot of if you follow the channel is, I mentioned earlier, this is the matching numbers case to this car. The car is a 64, and so it came with a 40 horse. So this is a little bit of a Frankenstein motor. So we wanted to keep the original engine case with the car because, again, it is numbers matching. But then what we did was we basically dropped a 74 millimeter counterweighted crank into it and then opened it up for 85.5 millimeter pistons and cylinders, which are of course stock 1600 jugs. And so that makes it basically a 1700 cc. It's 1699 technically. And instead of running the 40 horse heads, because it's next to impossible to find dual carburetors for 40 horse, we went ahead and changed those to 1600 single port heads. And that allowed us to run a set of dual Cadron carburetors. And then we still retained heat and everything. The car is still 6 volts. So you can see the super cool tiny 6-volt generator there. So very like period correct, old speed looking. Got the old school looking air cleaners from the Caddyshack. Nice little touch there. And then I took from Wolfsburg West the fuel line that they make for their Ocrasa kit and modified it pretty heavily to work with, again, a 40 horse based motor with dual carbs on it. So lots of bending and rebending of that fuel line to get it to work. But you know, it gives it that kind of old school look that I think works with the rest of what we got going on here. So yeah, we actually dynoed this one. It made 92 horse and 115 foot-pounds of torque on Brian Roth's dyno. So you know, kind of take those numbers. I don't know how they would compare to another dyno, but at least on his dyno, where a stock 1600 dynos at about 55 horsepower or so, this one made a lot more than that. And so I believe the numbers to some extent. But that is this one. This car is about done. I think the owners are actually going to take it next week, so I'll do a final walk around and detail of this car before it goes. So I think that's it for today, guys. Those are the engines that I have to talk about. Santiago is working on the headliner in that red Beetle right now. And Renee is like that close to painting the formerly white, soon-to-be Java green Beetle. So he may actually put some color on that thing tomorrow. If not tomorrow, I would say should be Monday for sure. So I will be in tomorrow, and I will be doing an episode where I will at least primarily be working on my own cars. So stay tuned for that. And until then, have a good evening, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.